Okay, so a conditional has two parts. The protasis, which is the if part, and the apodosis, which is the then part. Okay, so here are the Latin words over here that we know for if. So if you see C in a sentence, you're going to have a conditional. Sometimes the C comes at the beginning of the sentence, and sometimes it comes they have the then part first and then the if. Okay, there are two kinds of conditionals. There's the simple, and your book calls it factual conditionals. They use the indicative verb tense. And those are things that actually happened. Okay? So, for example, if I turn in my study guide, I will get 5 points on my test. Okay? Then there is the contrary to fact or imaginary ones are things that may or may not actually happen, right? So, for example, if I don't study for the test, I will fail. Well, you don't know that you're going to fail until you take the test. Does that make sense? So, this is the first time that we've seen subjunctive verbs in both the main clause and the dependent clause. So I guess I should put that in both main and dependent clauses. Okay. If you look at your handout, okay, do you see how they divide it up between the if and the then clause? Okay, so we got the protasis and the apodosis. Okay, and then you got simple and you got contrary to fact. Okay, so if you look at it, then you're just looking at the different times. Does that make sense? And then it gives you the verb tenses that you would see in those dealios. Okay, so if you have a present factual, okay, it's going to be present tense. Okay, and you're just going to straight up translate it like it looks like. Is and is. Okay, if it's past, it's either going to be imperfect or perfect. Imperfect, perfect. And remember, these are all indicative, right?
Does it say is?
Yep.
Is
What do you mean?
Does it say is under those two boxes present?
Yeah, that's how you translate it, is. Or
Saying you can't do that?
if she is loving, she is a happy person. Does that make sense? You just straight up translate it like you've always translated indicative verbs. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so then future would be future. So this would be was, right? Or have. Was, have. Future, future perfect. Future, future perfect. Okay. This one is where it's different. So you're going to say, you're going to translate it as present tense. And this one is future tense. Okay, so that's one place that's different. Look at the example. If I love, then I will praise. Like if I do this now, then this will happen. Okay. The contrary to fact is where it gets a little bit more kind of confused. Not confusing, just you have to learn the chart. Okay, so because it's not as intuitive as the contrary fact. Remember, all of these suckers are subjunctive. In both clauses, they're subjunctive. Okay? Okay, so in the present tense, present contrary to fact, you use the imperfect subjunctive in both clauses. See how I'm saying that's a little bit weird? Okay, so you're going to say were and would. In the past contrary to fact, you're going to use the pluperfect subjunctive. And you're going to say had and would have. Okay, in the future less vivid, or I call it the FLV, it's going to be present subjunctive, present subjunctive. Isn't that weird? See how it's present subjunctive, but it's called the future less vivid? That's weird. Okay, and you're going to translate it as should, would. Like this part to me is the hardest part of this one, of the whole deal. But basically, if you know like what tense it is, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And how to translate each tense, then you'll be fine. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Okay, so if you look at this first one, do you see how this is pluperfect subjunctive and pluperfect subjunctive? So look at your chart and what kind of conditional would it be? Past contrary to fact or past imaginary. So you're going to translate it as if Caesar had remained in the camp, the Gauls would not have made an attack. Okay, look at the same sentence, but this time this one is present subjunctive, right? So what kind of conditional would that be? Future less vivid. So if Caesar should remain in the camps, the Gauls would not make an attack. Do you hear the difference? Okay.
So we're taking the exam on Monday.